Okay, my other question for you is on a completely different note. Over the past few years, we have all been affected by the numerous natural disasters that have been going on. Do you foresee these disasters bringing about changes in the security standards set forth for data centers?
Absolutely, I do. But I would say that most data center providers have been very good about meeting to physical security and logical security standards on that. The reason for that is not the fear of natural disasters, but actually, quite frankly, it's the regulatory aspects that are being put onto, let's say, credit card companies for PCI requirements, personal credit card requirements, the requirements for banks here, especially in the United States, for Graham-Leach-Bliley Act, HIPAA for data mobility. And what's very important is that data center providers know that for them to really give a true business or solution to a customer, they have to meet to those standards for physical security standards, and also the ability to meet the logical security standards that will integrate to services that Microsoft would offer in their cloud, or SunGard would offer in their educational services cloud. So the industry is being pushed not by the fear of natural disasters, which that is what we refer to this in this business as the FUD business side of the house, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That has always been around, and that's how we used to sell a lot the data center business, and that's changed dramatically now because of regulatory. For example, cloud computing is causing people to evaluate where the data resides, where is physically that server. So if you're a university in Latin America and you have operations in North America, then you might have students hitting that portal from Europe, and then if personal information is being transacted because they have to pay for that class, they have to sign up for that class. There's most countries, when you look at the books, they have strict laws on data mobility, which are not really enforceable because of how quickly data moves from sans borders, without borders on that. So it's been pretty interesting the last couple of years seeing that occur, especially in Latin America and in Europe.
I just want to say that I invite you to speak in Spanish for our students so they can hear about your experience too. So when you have the opportunities to mention some of your comments in Spanish, I will appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I wrote all my questions in English, so I'm going to ask you in English. You probably all know Carlos. Carlos is joining us today from Data Corps, and we work very closely with Data Corps, so I'd like to give Carlos an opportunity to introduce himself.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for having me and having a Data Corps represent this morning here among this group of co-workers and vendors. So my name is Carlos Torres. I'm the Director of Support Services for Data Corps, and we provide managed services for Innova College. We've been in business for about 10 years in South Florida. We work very closely with Microsoft, with Citrix, with Cisco. That's basically our core technology that we deploy. So a lot of the comments and technology that we have discussed here this morning are the technologies that we work with day in and day out with our customers to be able to assist them and help them deploy that technology into their infrastructure, and also manage that technology for them under a managed service agreement. We have worked, and some of the things that we do is that we help companies, and we talked about cloud computing, and we help companies either create their own private cloud, or we help companies migrate to the public cloud, or a combination of two, which is something that we're also seeing in our industry. Specifically with Citrix, we have a lot of companies using the Citrix technology to be able to help their staff and the college industry mobility, especially to help them become more mobile to offer students the ability to access applications that they normally wouldn't be able to through the cloud. We also help them develop and centralize a lot of their technology, a lot of their software, where they can offer that technology to their students in the classrooms and labs. And we've been doing that with several schools down here in South Florida. So we bring that kind of expertise to our customers, and we're also consulting. We do a lot of consulting for a lot of companies down in South Florida. We do project management for them aside from the managed services.
Thank you. Okay, so my question today is, well, as I already said, the Accord is an invaluable partner for us. And they have allowed us to focus on our core business, which is education, and while they watch out for our technology and all of our equipment and financial services. In what industries have you seen a big push towards outsourcing of IT services? How do education institutes benefit from outsourcing, and what value do you add to their business?
Good question. We see a lot more and more every day companies actually requesting outsourcing for many different reasons, primarily to reduce IT budgets in this economy. A lot of companies are looking to reduce the IT budget, also bring in a company that is deploying the newest technology, has certified engineers and the newest technology come in and manage that environment for them at usually a fraction of the cost that their own IT department probably would have been able to do that. So there's a huge savings for the companies out there. We do, on the managed services side, we do, for some companies, we manage the entire infrastructure, and for some companies, it's a very specialized, we can do like Cisco IP telephony. We have customers of ours that strictly hire us to do their Cisco IP telephony. Other companies hire us to manage their Citrix environment, their farms. And what was the other part of that?
How do education institutes benefit from outsourcing? We kind of touched on that a little. And then what value do you add to their business?
We actually just finished a deployment recently for a high school. Actually, down here in South Florida, they have multiple campuses. They have campuses here in Dayton, campuses in Broward, and we've consolidated the entire server infrastructure. We virtualize the whole environment. We deploy Citrix technology. They're now able to offer all their students all their courses for the labs through the Citrix technology, and also they're able to do off-campus education through that technology.
Thank you, Carlos. Leo today is here with us from Citrix, sorry. So if you would mind tell us a little bit about yourself and about Citrix.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, everyone. Citrix is basically an enabler for the IT. Right? Our mission is to basically transform IT and deliver it as a service. Right? So it allows us to basically kind of piggyback on what Carlos was saying. It's basically taking multiple data centers, multiple locations, centralizing it into one, and being able to offer whatever solution from one point, allowing users to be roaming, allow them to roam and access information from any endpoint device. Right? So our concept is basically access information anywhere at any time from any place. ¿Cierto? La idea detrás del concepto de Citrix es de poder llevarle la información a los usuarios, ¿no? De poder tener un data center donde los usuarios no tengan que estar acostumbrados a estar casados con el data center. Hoy en día el usuario vive mucho más lejos del data center, ¿no? So, con Citrix los podemos brindar la opción de que el data center no esté tan lejos del usuario. ¿No? So basically, Citrix allows you to basically connect the user with the data center as we move into the future. So we're here to enable IT and allow IT to deliver as a service.
Okay, thank you. So I want to ask you today about your Zen application. Citrix, as most of you know, is one of the leaders in providing virtual access to users throughout the world, as Leo just told us. And mainly they do this through their Zen application. What kind of experiences have you had employing these applications in an academic setting? What benefits did students see from these implementations? What about the university? What kind of obstacles have you encountered and how are they overcome?
Great question. So, I'm going to use the concept of labs. Right? Today, a lot of the applications or programs live in the actual devices that are in the labs. Right?
Can you just sort of give yourself a little bit of what the applications are?
Anything, okay, so some applications that we can see like graphic arts, screen applications, art, music. I don't know perhaps the name exactly of the application, but these labs, they're there to empower the students to learn. Sometimes it's difficult to basically roll out upgrades or roll out new initiatives because you have to go to each device to do that that upgrade or that refresh. With Citrix, basically the information will live at the data center. So IT can actually just send one plug, one refresh, one update to all these devices overnight without the users even experiencing that everything actually connected. So this allows basically downtime to be reduced. You're up running constantly, right? The users doesn't get to see it, they don't experience it. Once they log into their new lab environment, you're basically seeing everything as if it was brand new.
Okay. So when you've implemented these in universities, what kind of experiences have you had? Have you run into obstacles? How are those problems solved?
Every setup is unique, right? There's different requirements and different systems in place that universities have. It's basically understanding the environment, right? We do empower the cloud movement. We're big in the cloud space. We enable anything from application virtualization to server virtualization, and desktop virtualization. So, everything is very unique. Right? But the idea is to basically get users closer to the data center. And if I can respond in Spanish, la idea detrás del concepto es de que cada configuración va a ser diferente, ¿no? No todas las configuraciones son iguales, no todos los environments son iguales. So, la idea es de nosotros poder empower el tema de cloud computing para que las universidades o las institutos de educación puedan tener la información disponible para el mundo.
Thank you very much.
Entonces podemos pasar también a la sesión de preguntas abiertas y tenemos para ya empezar la sesión de discusión y alguna opinión de mencionar el bueno, se lo menciono en español y después se lo repito en inglés. ¿Cuáles son los grandes desafíos que ustedes ven en el futuro de la tecnología en los siguientes años? ¿Cómo ven el incremento de esta necesidad de conectividad? ¿Ya? El incremento en lo que es el ancho de banda. Y si ven esto como un problema hacia el funcionamiento de las aplicaciones o es un beneficio, ¿cómo lo ven? Y si, bueno, ya lo hemos conversado, pero también cómo ven el incremento del servicio de software en lo que es el cloud, en la nube, ¿no? En vez de estar instalado directamente en el equipo. Y bueno, también cómo las organizaciones están moviendo hacia el cloud mediante la integración de servidores y virtualization en vez de tener su propio equipo instalado en unidad. Now I'm repeating.
Okay. So in English, the question is, what are the big changes that you foresee in the technology industry over the next several years? Do you foresee the increased demand of bandwidth as another problem? Do you think most softwares will be available on the cloud as software as a service? Will companies continue to have proprietary servers, or will there be a big movement towards cloud server services?
I think that one of the main words. I think one of the main words that we need to worry about is the exposure, right? What security risk are you going to be basically leaving out there by allowing people to access the information, right? How much downtime, how much